I recorded that podcast. Like, we record these podcasts a week in advance. So I recorded that podcast about Dogecoin when it was at 8 cents. And then literally the next couple of days, it shot up to like 49 cents. And I pretty much made the case that it was a slot machine and you probably shouldn't buy it as an investment vehicle. And it's still sitting at like 3x from where I record the podcast. So hopefully I didn't lose credibility as the crypto expert, but I was...
No, you gained credibility. Here's why.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's why. Because what you stated was Dogecoin was like pulling the lever on a slot machine. And that's what happened. There's nothing about Dogecoin that makes it a solid long-term investment. Right?
Or even a solid
there's
crypto.
nothing there.
It's not even a good crypto. Yeah.
Even a solid crypto. There's nothing there. So can money be made on it? Absolutely. You can make money on selling, baseball cards. You can make money selling. There's lots of things you can make money selling on, right? And the other thing that you can't underestimate, actually baseball cards would be more solid, I think, than Dogecoin.
Yeah.
But
NFTs.
I don't think you can underestimate mob mentality in the sense that we saw that with GameStop. We saw that with, we're seeing this with Dogecoin. In the sense of if enough of the public gets behind something and a hype is there, the hype itself can drive it up, right? And it might prop that up, but there's nothing there, like GameStop, there's nothing there to keep
Especially
it.
in the age of the internet when
Sure.
the velocity of information is extreme, where and
Right.
especially when there's like when you factor in like meme culture and how it basically becomes like a joke, and it's a joke that you can make money on. That's like the best kind of joke, and it's a joke.
Right.
To add one more layer, it's a joke that you can make a lot of money on, where you get like 10x upside with just putting in $20, and anybody can take part in this, and everybody has the tools to take part in this, and then you see your buddies and everyone's talking about it, and then we do a podcast on it. It's just it's a crazy time when you factor in the internet. It's almost like a lot of this stuff is inevitable, and then you factor in like Reddit and how we just went through COVID and everyone's spending all their time online. It's just kind of a perfect storm for a lot of this stuff, even to tie it back into SPACs, where like some of these crazy valuations, it's a crazy time to be an investor for sure.
It really is. And I was talking to my father-in-law about this, and he kind of brought up to me about it's almost like this gambling mentality where we are bleeding in right now the difference between gambling and investing. Somebody will think that gambling is investing. It's not investing. This podcast is about investing. This podcast is about creating and being able to sustain long-term wealth over time. It's not about what is the next thing that's going to make me, a couple $1,000 tomorrow, or a couple $1 million in 6 months. That's
or
not
a couple
what
$1 million
this is
in
for.
a couple of days, depending on how much you put in.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. And we were talking, him and I were talking. Actually, I mean, I do that. There's a segment of my money, and maybe in different things that most people would recognize, but there's a segment of my money that I put into things where it's not my retirement. It's not going to pay my mortgage. My kids aren't going to miss a meal. It's money that I have on the side that keeps it interesting. And sometimes you might buy a stock or you might buy an investment in something that is just fun, right? It's fun to follow, fun to track, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get on the Wall Street bets and these people are putting up these sums of money that they have no business putting up because if it crashes, they're ruined, that's gambling. That's bad gambling.
Yeah, like I read stories of people buying into GameStop when it was at like the $300 a share, and they were putting in like $50K that they took out like on their second mortgage.
A loan for it.
Yeah,
right.
And then so you add in the leverage, or it's like you might never get out from under that. It would take you. That's like financial ruin for decades. Like depending on your age, like it might be the case where you never get out of that. And it's really.
Think
sad.
about that. So,
sorry, go. Yeah, you're good.
You take out a loan, right? You take out a mortgage, line of credit on your house, to put down on GameStop, and you got in on the wrong time, which most people probably got in on the wrong time.
Most people lost money for sure.
So they lost a lot of money. So what's your solution? Maybe you can't pay it off. So you have to come up with this again, right? So maybe the next.
I mean, that's gambling.
Next scheme.
That's gambling.
Yeah, that's gambling, right? That's Gamblers Anonymous. Like, go ahead and dial the number because you're going to find yourself in a hole. This podcast is not about that.